To America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And welcome, folks. Here we are again, another week. There's so much going on. I don't know where to stand. I don't know where to stand. I don't know where to begin. You know, there are times when I don't know where to stand. Because, you know, I always try to keep a milk crate handy so I can be as tall as everybody else. But that's another story for another day. So, look, folks, welcome to the show. This is America's Web Radio, and this is the On Point with Victor show. I am Victor Armendariz. And we've got a jam-packed show today, so you're going to want to stay tuned today. If you're watching on the webcams, you see someone to my left, and she is a spicy number, so you're going to want to stay tuned to hear what she has to say today. And we're going to get to a little bit of some topic rundowns. So lots to get into today. I always come into the show and after a good long weekend and we're seeing doom and gloom everywhere, and the media would have you. You know, if it were up to the media and up to the Democrats, they would put every citizen of this country into as much pain as they possibly could every day, 24 hours a day. If they could put you in the most pain, they would. And what I mean by that, if those of you Democrats out there listening to me right now going, what is Victor talking about? What I mean by that is the Democrats have opened the playbook of Marxism and socialism. And look, folks, you don't have to just listen to me on this. You can do some research. If you go teach yourself and educate yourself about the history of Marxism, the history of socialism, go back and do a little research and educate yourself. Look at the playbook. Look at the 10 pillars of communism. If you want to see a striking resemblance to today's Democrat Party, or if you want to know why radio hosts like myself or candidates that are running for Congress, or just some active voters out there and people who love this country, if you want to know why we are complaining about the Marxism that has taken hold in this country, it's because we know our history. And it's because we know what Marxism stands for, and we know the direction that it'll take this country. So if you want to verify what I'm telling you, go do some research. Go look at the 10 pillars of communism. Go look at the Communist Manifesto. Go look at Marxism. Go look at socialism. Go look at the history of it. And look at the tactics. Now, I'm not just telling you to go do some research so you can understand what socialism means and what Marxism means. I don't want you to go find some Democrat that's going to tell you Marxism is great, it just hasn't been tried right. Or socialism is great, it just hasn't been tried right. Because that's what you'll get. No, I want you to go look at history and go do some research and look at the tactics that were used. I want you to see every society that has fallen. And you can go back to Rome. But if you just go back, you don't have to go that far if you're not the big history buff. But just go back and look at different societies and different countries and different cultures as they fall, the tactics that were used to bring them down. That's what we're seeing today. When you see BLM people in riot gear, their helmets, they've got flak jackets, they've got military equipment. And when you see Antifa with their military style equipment, when you see so-called protesters waving guns and standing in front of cars telling, no, you can't go this way. When you see checkpoints being set up, whether it's a checkpoint by BLM or Antifa or the Democrats, New York, when you see checkpoints where they're turning people away, you need only go back to your history and look at the tactics of Marxism, the tactics of socialism. This is what they do, folks. And that's what we've reached to today. So I wasn't going to start the show out this way, but I've seen so much going on this weekend, and I'm so tired of hearing the media take up for these so-called peaceful protesters. Ladies and gentlemen, when you arrive to a protest and you want to be peaceful, knock yourself out. You've got a First Amendment right to do so. But the minute a gun comes out, the minute a wannabe military guy comes out with all his garb on, the minute a snowflake decides to put on military garb and carry a weapon, and the minute that weapon is pointed at somebody they consider an adversary, that's no longer a protest, that is a riot. And there's a difference. And if you are peacefully assembling and you're allowing your peaceful assembly to be integrated or infiltrated, I should say, infiltrated by these paid agitators, then you need to leave. If you are a peaceful protester and the paid agitators arrive with their guns, their rocks, their bats, their golf clubs, their Molotov cocktails, when they arrive, you need to leave. Because at that point, it's no longer a peaceful protest. And we have come down now. Look, I haven't said much about the Biden because I actually feel sorry for the guy. So I haven't said much about the presidential race, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The events that are going to shape the election in November, some of those events haven't happened yet. But as we move on, I'm going to start talking a little bit more and more about Biden. But the Democrats have overstepped their hands so much with these riots. You know, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, they're all trying to hide from you, the public, from you, the citizen. They don't want you to see these riots that are going on. They don't want you to see, folks, take a look at the other night in Chicago, the Magnificent Mile. Chicago used to be a beautiful city. The Magnificent Mile is beautiful shops. Well, you had people ramming their cars into the stores on the Magnificent Mile and looting, stealing, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't peaceful. That's the one thing it was not peaceful. When you're destroying other people's property, that's not peace. When you're stealing other people's property, that's not peace. And that was going on in Chicago, and it was allowed to happen because that mayor out there wouldn't know her, well, you know what, I'm going to stop there because I'm going to be nice. But that mayor is a typical today's Democrat. She is okay with theft, with looting, with destruction of property. She's okay with that. But if you have 10 people in your house, she's going to arrest you. If you walk outside without a mask, she wants to arrest you. If you go and try and work a job, she's going to arrest you. But if you go bust out a window and steal some clothing or steal watches or any other products from somebody, that's a peaceful protest in her eyes. Because, folks, if you look at the pillars of communism, if you look at the tactics of Marxism, you have to have chaos in a society, and then society falls. And that's what the Democrats are on the side of. This election is no longer about Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. This election is the American way of life with law and justice versus chaos, lawlessness, and riots, just senselessness. So, in my opinion, the Democrats have given the Republicans or Donald Trump or whatever, however you're looking at this race, they've given Trump and the Republicans a whole new vigor for this, let's just say, for this election in November. Because the Democrats thought, look, I'm going to tell you what they thought. They thought they could encourage these riots and these so-called peaceful protests. They thought they could encourage it to bring just enough concern out and think that, well, if we cause a little bit of pain, then we can get them to turn against Trump. Because if you've got a little bit of pain, this is the Democrat mind. They're thinking, if we can cause enough pain, and the people are going to go, oh, we just want it to stop, so we have to vote against Trump. But the riots have got out of control, folks. BLM has got out of control. Antifa's out of control. These people have been emboldened, because when you don't prosecute criminal behavior, you embolden criminal behavior. When you have a group of people that are shattering windows, looting stores, stopping people in the street from driving, pulling people out of their cars, pulling a man out of his wheelchair and beating him, killing a black man for supporting Trump. All this is going on, folks. You can look it up. When you have that is an emboldened criminal element that is out of control. And the Democrats, they are the ones that fueled this. I'm sorry to say, but today's Democrat Party fueled this. So they've gone too far, and I am telling you, this election now is not just the persona of Orange Men Bad versus Hyde and Biden. It is now the American way of life, the Constitution, law and order, pursuing a dream, versus total destruction, total anarchy, and just lawlessness. That's what the Biden voter is out there right now shattering windows. The Biden voter is beating people who have a different point of view. This stuff is going on. And maybe, I shouldn't just call them all Biden voters. Maybe some of them are Green Party voters. Who knows? But look, folks, it is a sad thing to see, but I want you, I am the eternal optimistic guy. So I want to turn now to some positive things that are going on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to lose this country. There is no other place on earth like the United States. You hear me talk about it all the time. This is the country that welcomed my father, who couldn't speak English. They welcomed him here, and it's just why I am here. This is the country that welcomed Josie Cruz, who you're going to meet later. They welcomed her from a socialist utopia of Venezuela. This is the country that has lifted more people out of poverty and put them into self-reliability than any country in the world. Folks, there's so much goodness here, and there's so many good people in this country. So we have lots to fight for, and we have plenty to live for. If you're discouraged out there because you're hearing nonstop 98% of the media tell you that Trump is going to lose, and that you know the story, you guys hear it. Look, I'm here to tell you that there's plenty of evidence that tells you otherwise. I'm here to tell you, my gut feelings tells me that we're in for one of the biggest landslides. Maybe not a Reagan landslide, but we're in for one of the biggest landslides this November that this country's seen, and it's going to be led by Donald J. Trump. And I think it's going to be a down ticket. I think the Republicans have a great chance of taking the House. They have a great chance of getting more power in the Senate. And Donald Trump is going to get 4 more years. Now, I say that with complete confidence, but here's the thing. I want the Trump team, I want every Republican, every conservative candidacy out there to run their campaigns like they're 20 points behind. I have confidence in my gut feeling that we're going to win. We're going to win big in November. But I want us to treat it like we're losing, because we've got to fight hard. You cannot underestimate the fraud, and that the Democrats are going to try to come out and use every fraudulent technique they have. And the only way to beat fraud is turnout. So we cannot sit back and rest on our laurels. We have to pretend like we're behind. So that means not only do I have to go vote, I've got to make sure that my family votes, and I've got to make sure some friends vote. Josie's got to Josie's got to make sure that so many of her soon-to-be constituents vote. You can no longer sit on the sideline. This election is too important, and there's too many of us that think, well, you know what, I just don't need to vote. It's in the bag. Well, you can't think that way. You've got to think that we're so close, or we're losing, that every vote's going to count. Because let me tell you, every vote will count. There are some races that are going to come down to 100 or 200 votes. They make maybe less than that. So every vote's going to count. Because we're not just up against the Democrat machine, we're up against a fraudulent machine. And if they get mail-in voting, that's a huge pile of fraud that's going to happen. And the only way to defeat it is turnout. So I don't want to hear any doom and gloom. I don't want to hear complaining, all of this, they're going to cheat here and they're going to cheat there, because they're going to do it. But what we've got to do is be strong enough, confident enough, and positive enough to get out and talk to people and go, no, you can't sit this one out. You've got to go vote. And I'm not telling you got to go vote for a personality named Donald J. Trump. I'm telling you, you've got to go vote for a country called the United States of America. You've got to go vote for the citizenry of the United States of America. You need to go vote for policy. And there is one set of policy that's going to bring us past this coronavirus, the China virus, the Wuhan virus. There's one set of policies that's going to put the 20 million people plus who've lost their jobs, we're going to put them back to work. Folks, last week we were down to 10% unemployment. We added 1.8 million jobs in this country. And that's still during an ongoing fight with this Wuhan virus, a fight with the Democrats trying to keep their states locked down. And we're still producing those jobs. So I'm not telling you have to vote for a persona. I'm telling you to vote for policy.
That's
and
right.
The policies of a businessman are going to get us out of this mess. The policies of a 50-year career politician in Joe Biden is not going to get us out of a mess. It's going to keep us in the mess. Folks, if you are listening to Biden and Bernie Sanders, by the way, the two oldest, whitest guys the Democrats could find, the Democrats, the party of diversity, the Democrats, the party of Black Lives Matter. But somehow, Black lives didn't matter enough for them to nominate a black candidate. No, they went and got the whitest, oldest dude they could get, who you're told by the Democrat Party, you're told by BLM, you're told by Antifa that you need to hate that white guy because of the color of his skin. But yet, who's at top of their ticket? Hiding Joe Biden. All right, folks, I'm not angry. I'm just right. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. You listen to America's Web Radio.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Karuchak. Have you ever wondered what doctors talk about amongst themselves? If you do, join us on the Doctor's Lounge and hear the doctors' conversations amongst themselves. Join me and my co-host, Dr. Hal Schertz, every Thursday morning, 8 to 9 a.m.
My name is Kyle Hayes, a motorsports student at Alfred State College. Every year, Alfred State students compete in the Great Race, which is a cross-country time endurance rally for vintage vehicles. As you can imagine, it's pretty costly. I'm asking for your help. Your donation can make it possible for these students to live their passion and promote the vintage automobile industry. Please visit our site at give.alfredstate.edu and search Great Race to learn more and help us reach our goal. Thank you.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual, family, or baby boomer, email maga45cag@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at maga45cag@gmail.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Conversation with Josie, who is to my left if you're watching on the cams. I do want to mention a couple of things because we're going to bring it a little local. So I'm going to ask all the listeners across the country, my listeners in California and Florida and New York and everywhere else in between. Let me tread on your attention span a little bit because we're going to get into some local things. But don't think these local things don't concern you, because what happens here in Georgia on the national level, because we're talking about, we're going to be talking to Josie, who's a candidate for United States Congress. We've got a big Senate race here. All these races in different states matter to everybody. So definitely stay tuned. But what I do want to break it down a little bit, because we are having a special election today. We're having a runoff election today for DeKalb County Sheriff. And I need you to get out and vote. If you haven't got out, and don't think you don't need to go vote today. If you are in DeKalb County and you're ready for DeKalb County to take a new direction, because DeKalb County has been basically run into the ground. The same people who have been running DeKalb County into the ground year after year after year after year. We can no longer continue to vote for them. And today is your chance to send a lady to take over the reins of sheriff. Today's your chance to put DeKalb on a new path. So go vote for Ruth the Truth Stringer.
Right. That's right.
Ruth the Truth Stringer.
Yes.
So you've got to get out. If you're in DeKalb County, Georgia, go vote today. You have until 7 o'clock. And once you're in line, they cannot make you leave. So get your butt to the polls and vote for Ruth the Truth Stringer. She's got to win today, folks. This will put DeKalb County on a whole different trajectory if we elect Ruth the Truth. So let's make that happen. So I want to move on a little bit. We'll get to some more topics for the On Point with Victor topic rundown. We'll get to a little bit more, but I do want to go ahead and bring in, who's sitting to my left, my guest today is Josie Cruz. And Josie is running, if you're not familiar with her, you can look her up. Josie Cruz, she has a website. She's running for United States Congress in District 4. Now, those of you in Georgia, I'm sure, and even many of you outside of Georgia are going to know when I tell you the current occupant of the District 4 congressional seat is none other than Mr. Guam himself, Hank Johnson. Now, I'm not going to get into too much and advertise for Hank, but this is the guy who thought the island of Guam was going to sink. This is the guy who called the Jewish people cockroaches. This is a guy, termites. I'm sorry, termites. There's a difference, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is the guy that called the Jewish people termites. This is the guy that back in 2016, his first debate with me, looked at me and looked at the people and said that what Victor needs to understand is Congress not about kicking a soccer ball up and down the aisles. Now imagine if I, Josie, had a turn to him and said, Congress isn't about dribbling a basketball up and down the aisles. I would have been called a racist and everything else but a child of God and would have been run out of town. But he got away with it.
Yeah.
So
we're seeing that a lot. The one who said cockroaches was Biden.
Yes.
Biden, he's
yes.
talking about the kids touching his leg and something about cockroaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry. Keep going.
Creepy Joe.
Creepy, sleepy Joe.
Creepy, sleepy, hiding Biden
Hiding
Joe.
Biden, yes. That's
And
right.
hanky panky.
And hanky panky. Well, so Josie, let's give a little update. Give us a little update on what's going on with your campaign and what you're seeing out there.
Look, I'm being blessed that I have around 10 volunteers helping with my campaign. They're being added to my campaign 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So it looks like it took for somebody to leave in order for the Lord to send the rest of the people for my campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I said, my campaign, it's not my campaign, it's the Lord's campaign.
Right.
Because as you see over there, in God we trust.
Right.
My mission when I get elected to the House is to bring back JC to the House. Jesus Christ, God. Bring back that phrase, in God we trust, that Pelosi took out from the building.
Right.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring back the commission. Back in those days, in 1974, the name of the commission who was put to sleep, eliminated, however you want to call it, is the HUAC, which says House On-American Activities Committee. And the person who got in charge to get rid of this committee was Joe Biden.
Oh, go figure.
Okay? So he was the last one who put the nail in the coffin and bury it. So when I get the chance to bring that back, that will save us a lot of trouble, because this committee will target anyone who is doing any kind of activity that will benefit their objective of the destruction of America.
Oh, wow.
One way or another.
You mean like bringing in Marxism and using Marxism
sir.
tactics
For example,
and socialism?
right now, when this committee is, hopefully we can bring it back, it will stop Antifa. It will stop the Marxist BLM, Black Lives Matter, because they already, I'm not saying it, they already said that. They already recognized and put it out there that they are Marxist trained.
Yeah, they're
group.
Marxist. The founder, one of the founders of BLM, is on video. And folks, again, go look it up for yourself. You don't have to take it from me. You don't have to take it from Josie. But in fact, I'll give you an example, Josie. I got myself into a little bit of I became a target for some Facebook group because I had the audacity to tell the MLS they need to go pound sand, the Major League Soccer. I, as you well know, I love soccer. Live, breathe soccer. My father lives and breathes soccer. And we were having, we couldn't watch the tournament that just happened because of their support of a Marxist group, which is BLM. And so I went on a site and I said, look, I cannot support this. I love my country. I wouldn't be here were it not for the graces of this country that welcomed my father. My father came from a third world country. My father had to work 3 jobs to make it here. But not only did he make it, not only did he learn English and learn the culture of America, he retired CFO of a company here. So this country is an amazing country, and I love it, and I will not stand by and support an organization that supports a Marxist group because I don't want this country to fall into Marxism. And so I got on this, and I just stated my, I didn't want to fight with anybody. I just said, this is my 2 cents. Well, I got inundated by people, of course, telling me, I got called a racist, and then they found out I was Hispanic, and then they so they couldn't backtrack. So then they told me I don't remember. They said some stupid things.
Look, the thing
it was crazy.
Yeah, the thing with what we're going through is what we call socialism system. The system of socialism wants to get implemented in the United States, which is the opposite of capitalism.
Oh, it's
which is
opposite of freedom.
Which is generated from our Constitution. So basically what they're trying to do is annihilate, eliminate, and burn down the Constitution, get rid of what we call capitalism, freedom, economical freedom,
no
personal
freedom, no liberty.
all that, liberty. They want to get rid of that and implement the socialist system. Okay?
Absolutely.
So when this committee is, if we could bring it back, one of the other group that are very scared of that committee is what we call the political Islam.
Okay.
Islam. The political Islam are those groups who are promoting the replacement of the Constitution and putting the Sharia law above anything. We are seeing that in New York. We are seeing that in Minnesota.
Well, look in Minnesota, Josie, where there are neighborhoods where they're trying to implement Sharia law, and they're telling the police officers, you can't come in here. We're going to police with Sharia law.
Exactly.
So that can't be allowed to grow.
When they elected Barack Obama, they tried to do it from the top, from the legislator, from the executive branch.
Right.
They couldn't do it because in America everything is backward. Everything starts from the bottom, which is the local,
right,
goes to the state, and then federal. So what they're doing now, the political Islam, they are promoting a lot of Islamist Sharia practitioners. You know, those ones who practice and believe the Sharia law is above any constitution in any country that they go.
Right.
What they are doing is promoting those people to get into local councils like mayor, the city council, and then from there, that's how Ilhan Omar started.
Yeah.
She started from the local and then went to the she became a mayor, I believe, something like that.
I'm not sure if it was a mayor or not, but basically she worked her way to the United States Congress.
And now she's in the House doing so much damage too.
Well,
now America, she's doing damage to us as an America.
Yeah. She's doing damage to the people who rescued her.
Yeah.
She was a refugee.
She's doing a big damage to Israel.
Yeah.
To Israel because she's promoting a lot of policies against Israel and boycotting
she
everything.
Supports the boycott of Israel. She wants the United States to boycott.
She hates Jew.
Very much so.
Okay.
And it's sad, but she does.
When the president says to her, go back to your country, fix your country, and then show us, how did you fix it? Then you can say something.
Oh, she's doing the opposite.
She's doing
Look at Minnesota. Look at Minneapolis. Minneapolis, where they've destroyed things because of their peaceful protests, where they have storefronts destroyed, streets destroyed, neighborhoods destroyed. That looks like where she came from.
Yeah.
So instead of going to fix,
it's so true that I saw a meme. Somebody put a picture of her and AOC, Alexandria Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a communist.
Yeah.
AOC is a communist. Ilhan Omar is an Islamist. These two groups are working together.
Oh, of course.
Together. What happened is, let me explain you how it's going. The political Islam are financing all this group. They are financing the Democrats, they are financing the Antifa, they are financing Black Lives Matter, all those groups. And then the communists, they are the ones who are executing the activities, the looting, the destruction of the black community. And we could see the groups who are destroying this community are those people who came from Venezuela, who we call Chavez followers, the Bolivarians that come from Bolivia, the Chileans who came from Chile. They are the ones who are going behind the peaceful protest, and they are the ones who are breaking and destroying the black community's businesses. So you can see here how these two groups who hate so much America, they hate you, they hate me, they hate David, they hate everybody who loves this country. And the main goal is to replace the Constitution from the bottom all the way to the top.
Absolutely, Josie. Now, look, we're going to go to a break, folks, and when we come back, we'll get into a little more, and we'll get into a little bit more of the race she's in with versus Hank Johnson. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Are your health insurance premiums going up? You are not alone. Visit us at ObamacareWatch.org to understand why and what you can do to get us back on the right track. This is Grace Marie Turner, president of the Galen Institute. Visit us at ObamacareWatch.org.
This is Dr. Susan Blank, host of Detailing Addiction on America's Web Radio. Please join us at 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Karuchak. Join me and my co-host, Dr. Hal Schertz, every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. and listen to the Doctor's Lounge, where you get a private insight into the conversations that doctors have amongst themselves. Join us Thursday, 8 a.m. every week.
This is America's Web Radio. Would you like to have a show, talk about your business, or express your opinion on America's Web Radio? Just email gm@americaswebradio.com and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
And welcome back, folks. We are back. You are listening to On Point with Victor. I am Victor Armendariz, and I'm sitting with Josie Cruz, candidate for United States Congress. There's a lot of topics to get into, but listen, folks, I want you to do some research. I'm always telling you to do research because you don't need to just take my word for it. And I know many of you out there trust me, and you have every reason to trust me. But I still want you to do your own research. When you do your own research, you are a very formidable debater. And Democrats and socialists and Marxists and these other groups out there that are trying to take you down and America down, they're not going to want to debate facts with you. They're going to want to, as soon as you break out some facts, they're going to want to call you names, and they're just going to want to shut you up. But the more informed you are, trust me, to be nice and throw out facts, and you will drive a Democrat, a Marxist, a socialist, you'll drive them crazy, and eventually they're going to walk away from you. So I want you to have this information. So what you're hearing Josie say, what you're hearing me say today, you can go find it all for yourself. She is not kidding about these groups that are trying to work from within. Look, if you go back to probably 2007, when Obama was gearing up his run, Obama didn't go stand in the living room of some supporters or black families saying, hey, I'm the guy that's going to fight for you. No, he went and stood in the living room of Bill Ayers, who happens to be a white dude, who also happens to be a known terrorist. The guy was a domestic terrorist who served time for it. Look up the underground weather underground. Thank you, David. And look up Bill Ayers. That is the man who Obama chose to stand in his living room to put together his goals or his announcement for running. And this, I believe, was back when he was running for Chicago Senate, because it was people like Bill Ayers. Look, Obama was an idealist. Obama came out of college being friends with communist groups and Marxist groups, and he came out going, man, we can form this group and we can make it stronger and we can change America. It was the Bill Ayers types and some of the other people around Obama who said, no, you need to get elected. You need to go into the Illinois State Senate, and then you need to move your way on up to the presidency of the United States and work from within. And so what Josie's talking about is very true, and you can look it up. And again, you can start with Obama and see how he got where he got, and why he was doing it. There is a movement in this country to try and get into local. Look, politics starts on the local level. I've been saying that for a long time. Local politics are more important than really national politics, because it's where you live. And if you can't govern where you live and prosper, how do you think the reason why Washington is so out of control and the federal government is so large and out of control and really putting up a roadblock in every aspect of your life, the reason that is because we the people have allowed it to get there. And if we take back our local politics, trust me, we can take back Washington. And what I mean by that is we can reduce the size of government, which has got to be, we got to get back to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Josie you mentioned before.
Could you read this
about,
here? This
absolutely.
Part here.
So Josie mentioned before about people, the groups of people that want to replace our Constitution with either Sharia law, or they want to replace it with the Communist Manifesto, or they want to replace it with the, just go look up Karl Marx. They want to replace it with those teachings. We can't allow that to happen, folks.
Why do they want to replace it? Because it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's good. It doesn't allow them to have control on our lives.
Exactly.
And that's the part that a lot of people need to understand. Yeah. If you allow the socialist system, which is destroy real information, we only misinform you, that only give you half of the truth and half lies, and control you and manipulate you for them to control your life, and you end up doing what it's like we are in a slave system back again.
Right. Look, there is one document in this world, one document in this world that specifically spells out the restrictions of government, and specifically spells out the power of the people, the power of the citizen. There is no country in this world that gives power to the citizen over government other than the United States of America. In the United States of America, the citizen has power. The government is merely a representation of the power that we, the citizen, allow them to wield. And that is why the Constitution is so important. The United States Constitution is the envy of the world by anyone seeking freedom. But the United States Constitution is the enemy of the world, of anyone who seeks subjugation. They seek power. If they seek to control you, then they hate the United States Constitution. There is a reason that the world doesn't want freedom to thrive. They don't want liberty to thrive. Folks, imagine what would happen in this world if enough countries got behind the idea of freeing their people and letting liberty reign. Folks, it'd be amazing. So let me read this passage here. This is one of your favorite passages, one of Josie's favorite passages. At the conclusion of the Constitutional Convention, and folks, go look it up. If you're not familiar with the Constitutional Convention, this took place in the early days, when we kicked the British out of here. And we started this nation known as the United States, and we created and adopted the United States Constitution. We had a constitutional convention. So just listen to these words. At the conclusion of the Constitutional Convention, Benjamin Franklin was asked, "What have you wrought?" His answer was, "A republic, if you can keep it." So let me explain this to you. The question that was asked to Benjamin Franklin, "What have you wrought?" What they mean by that, folks, this is Old English. Remember, we came from Old England. This is Old English. What have you wrought? Basically, they're asking Ben Franklin, you've had this constitutional convention. You've defeated the biggest military machine in the world, and you've created a document that says the people are free. And here's why. So and then you've had the Constitutional Convention to ratify and to put things in place. You've put this government in place, this self-governance, never before seen in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain this to you real quick. Up until the United States, before the birth of the United States, the world didn't know freedom. They didn't know liberty. They didn't know self-governance. And along comes the United States with that document, creating the self-governance system. and a republic, folks. We are not a democracy, which is why you will never hear me on this radio show. You will never hear me call the United States a democracy, because we're not. And it drives me crazy because so many people have fallen into this trap and they've given up.
It's two of us now.
They've given up on wanting to educate the people, so they just tell you, oh, yeah, we're a democracy. Well, we're not, folks. We are a republic. And just as they asked Benjamin Franklin the question, what have you wrought? And what they meant, what have you done now? What have you done? You've kicked out the British.
What have you giving us
You've
now?
kicked out the British. You've kicked out the monarchy. You're telling us that we're going to be self-governed. So what have you given the people of the United States? And what did Benjamin Franklin say? Not only did he say, we've given you a republic. And what he meant by that, we've given you a system of government where you, the people, we the citizen, are going to run. We're going to be self-reliant, and we're going to be self-governed. But he didn't stop there. He said, if you can keep it. Because, folks, even back then, they knew there was going to be challenges ahead. That there would be, I don't know if the Founding Fathers ever thought we would make it 240 years.
Let me tell you, he knew they were going to come back and trying to enslave us again, because the British never got over. They never got over. These colonist people, those farmers people got together and they kick us out.
Right.
So they always had the grouch in there. They're going to come back and they're going to come back. And
you want to talk about a chip on the shoulder.
Yes. And then if you notice the Frankfurt School and all those schools, the new left and all those, that's what they're doing is they're trying to bring back the same system that we kick out. Back in those days, they're trying to bring it back again and enslave us back again.
They want to bring back subjugation. They want to bring back equal misery. Because what you get under these, if you just look around the world, folks, you can get equal misery. We, the elitists, are going to run you. We're going to let you have your wine. We're going to let you have your bread. We're going to let you have a couple of sports shows. But we're going to control your health care. We're going to control where you work. We're going to control how much you make. We're going to control what kind of car you drive. We're going to educate your children. We're going to control everything down to kindergarten. We're going to control... again, if you get sick, we are going to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think I'm kidding or if you think Josie's kidding, look around you. We're not making this up. Let me give you some examples, some subtle examples if you would just pay attention. We have been going through coronavirus, the Wuhan virus, the China virus.
That came from China.
Yes, it's the China virus. We've been going through this and dealing with it, okay? And instead of Democrats and Republicans pulling together going, look, this is a virus, we've got a medical team on this, and there's a medical team over here saying that this medicine might work. There's a medical team here that it's using this medication, and there's a medical team here that says they have some anecdotal evidence that this is working. Everything should have been done to save lives. But that's not what happened, folks. That's not what happened. The Democrats immediately saw a chance to take a crisis and try to gain power from the crisis.
They don't waste a crisis.
Never let a crisis go to waste.
Okay.
And so, folks, look it up. You will find Democrat governors who banned the use of hydroxychloroquine just because
they don't want the problem to solve.
Well, they don't want the problem solved, but more than that, they wanted to go against Donald Trump. They want to find every way to defeat him, and they couldn't defeat him with a fake Russia story. They couldn't beat him with all these fake stories, with the Ukraine fake story, the Russia fake story.
They just want to destroy the economy and the corona.
Well,
that's why they do.
You can go back years when Trump took office and he started making policy changes and the economy started going up and up and up. You can go back and you can look at Bill Maher on TV and a lot of Democrat ilk, like his ilk, that were saying we're going to have to trash the economy so Trump will lose.
They were saying it.
And listen, so you had people telling us that we needed to trash the economy so they can beat Trump. You have people saying basically, and we have to cause pain. Now, look what's happening now, folks, through this coronavirus. You have Democrats, governors who want to keep their cities shut down. If you want to go loot, murder, and destroy, that's okay. You can do that. But if you want to go to work, if you want to open your gym, if you want to open your restaurant,
you go to
can't.
jail.
They're going to send you to jail. If you want to open your hair salon, they want to put you in jail. These are Democrat governors, and then they ban the very medicine that is showing promise in the beginning. If you've got early stages of corona, hydroxychloroquine was working.
So that reminds me. I am original from Venezuela.
Right.
Okay.
I think I can hear it.
All those explanation that you were giving just a few seconds ago, like they were freeing the people from jail because of the coronavirus, but they're putting people in jail because they are not following,
because they want to work.
Exactly. So that reminds me so much of Venezuela. The president, the system, the socialist system, the communist system in Venezuela, what they did in order for them to control the population, they released people from jail under the excuse of something, so they can keep the population of the citizens, keep them in line.
It's a socialist and a Marxist tactic.
Exactly.
You let the criminals out because the criminals will create diversion. Well, they'll create chaos within the public, and then the public takes its eye off the leadership.
Another thing that they did was they forbid people to work, and they used to pay them to stay home. Is not that what we're going through?
That's
they are
exactly
paying
what we're
us
going
to
through.
stay home because of coronavirus.
Well, they're trying to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is the conclusion. I don't even call them Democrats anymore. I call them communist Democrats. The communists, the anarchists, the haters of America, Democrats. They create the chaos. They create a crisis, and then it transfers to a chaos, and then they come with the solution: more government control.
Yeah.
Okay. The creation of the coronavirus was in communist China. They created the sickness. They were so upset with President Trump because he was giving them, okay, let's go fix the tariff. Come on, let's go fix the trade. You cannot keep on leeching on us like you've been doing for 30 years. So they didn't like that.
Right.
So they say, okay, we're going to make him pay now, because there's no country, they are so arrogant, those Chinese, then there is no country that's going to tell us what to pay and what not to pay, because that's a communist mentality. They take from somebody, but they don't want to pay their share. So what they did is, okay, well, let's go destroy the economy that Donald J. Trump has in the United States. And United States have to buy the medicine from us because they already had the medicine for the coronavirus.
And the mask.
And the mask. And you
a lot of the
I mean?
PPP, yeah.
Okay. So what happened is it didn't go through because American, the man with the pillow, what is his name? The pillow man. A lot of people start
Mike Lindell.
Yeah, he resolved the problem.
Who needs to be an advertiser on this show, but go ahead.
You hear? He resolved the problem with the mask. So we didn't have to buy no mask from China.
We didn't have to buy from China.
And then Mexico started producing the hydrochloroquine. So, and then the Democrats got into panic because they didn't know what to do. They thought the American would have followed their path of they were designing. And American, this is something about American, they do what they want to do.
Well, see, I've talked about this before, Josie. There is something that the Democrats and the communist China, they always underestimate the resolve and they underestimate the ingenuity of the American people.
That's right.
The American people.
That's right.
I tell people this all the time, especially I have listeners and friends of the show that get down and they so much negative news that they feel like it's hopeless.
That's the whole idea.
And that's exactly the idea, and that's what I tell them.
Your dreams, your initiative goes down.
But what I tell them, Josie, all the time, and I tell my listeners constantly, we are Americans. We don't run from anything. We don't hide from anything.
Only Biden.
We adapt. We adapt. We live and we prevail. That is the American way. And
and they
if
want
ever
to destroy
you needed
that.
Exactly, they want to take out this. Look,
they
there's
want to break the spirit, American spirit.
That's the other thing I was getting to, Josie, is we have an American spirit that no other culture in this world has, and that American spirit is what defeated. Yes, because of that document in the founding fathers. But the American spirit is where this country was born from. The American spirit defeated the largest military might in the 1700s. The American spirit stopped Hitler's march.
Yes.
The American spirit stopped Mussolini. The American spirit stopped Gorbachev. The American spirit
it's
is
time to
what
stop.
stopped this world from falling many
And
times.
today, the American spirit is going to stop this communist and socialist agenda pushing through our throat.
Right.
Through the media, through all these political politics.
Politics, yeah.
Okay? When you see Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, when you see AOC, Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, Hank Johnson, attacking us, who we elect them to be there to represent us, and they're attacking us. They want to change our way of living, our way of doing things. The know-how, el know-how, that's when you say, oh, hell no.
Right.
That's when you say, hell no. You know what?
Well, once again, these people like Omar and AOC and Biden and Sanders and all they're about to wake up the sleeping, silent giant.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the legal documented migrants.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
We are suffering today because of the lack of the HUAC. Okay, the administration, Bush administration, and the Clinton administration, and the Obama administration, especially the last 8 years administration, Obama administration, they allow a lot of people to come to United States legally. Legally, they gave them visa, they gave them residency. Now some of them become American, and now they are voting. But they are promoting everything against America. They are promoting Joe Biden. They are promoting socialism. They are promoting communism. They are promoting free stuff. Things free will do it. How you call it? The freebies. That's what they call it, right?
Well, what
freebies.
We have to remind, I do this sometimes, I remind people, we are the land of the free. We are not the land of the free stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, but what we are seeing is, for example, people from Venezuela, they have been living here for 20, 30 years. They do not assimilate. They don't learn the way of America, but they want to come and pretend to become some kind of political leader by promoting the same agenda from Cuba, from Venezuela, from Mexico. Okay, from the Middle East, promoting, for example, Ilhan Omar. She's from Somalia, from Africa, right? She came here and she's destroying her city the same way that she left her country back. The same way she left.
So, Josie, there is another radio host that he's an awesome radio host, and I'm not going to advertise for him because I want to. I'm a host too, but I'll tell you now, he's a good guy. He's by the name of Will Cow. A great radio host, and he says something that I love, and I repeat it, but I want to give him credit because that's where I got it from.
Okay.
But he says all the time, you cannot take and meaning a third world country.
Yes.
Or socialism, let's say socialist. You cannot bring socialism from there to here and not expect here to become there. And that's exactly and it sounds common sense, but so many people don't understand this.
It happens so much in the family. It happens so much in family. Look, my mother, she's like now she's more Republican because she's seen the destruction, and she's 70 something, and she said, well, hey, wait a minute. My brother is coming aboard, and he said, we need to be patriots. We need to defend our country. Right. But I have a sister, she's hard-core communist because she wants everything free.
She thinks that everything going to be given to her.
Exactly. She doesn't make the sense. She doesn't make no sense.
She doesn't understand that communism, socialism, Marxism, it's the equal opportunity for misery. It is not the equal opportunity to achieve a dream.
But the mentality is have somebody else working hard. They pay their taxes. I am here collecting those freebies. Yeah. That's the mentality. And I'm sad to say it, but when it comes to Latino American, people who are coming here legally, when it comes to Africa, when it comes to the Middle East, they come with the mindset that the government has to give them. They don't think about what I can do for the country.
Right.
Like
JFK,
Kennedy,
one of the last good Democrats.
That's right. So they don't think what I can do for this country to help out this country. They are coming okay, I need food stamp, I need this, I need what the country can do for me. So if you coming here with that mentality, I give you an advice. Go back to your country.
Yeah, go back.
Go back to your country because you are not going to come here mess us up just because you are selfish.
I agree.
And selfish.
Yeah, if you're sitting in Venezuela or somewhere in Africa or in the Middle East and you're pushed down because of an oppressive elitist government, or you're of the type that which Josie alluded to, where you don't want to work, you want that guy to work and pay for you. You don't want to do anything. You don't want it to expend your sweat equity. You want that guy to do it. If that's you, don't bring that to this country because that's not America.
But that starts in the family. That starts how your parents raised you.
Yeah.
If you have a parent who teach you from the beginning, I'm gonna be helping you now, but I need you to study. One time you have to leave the house and you have to be independent and you have to be responsible on yourself.
Right.
But we have a lot of Latinos and Muslims and Middle Eastern parents and African parents that they have their kids in the house, 40 years old, 50 years old, and what they're waiting. Guess what they're waiting for? They're waiting for mommy and mom die so they can they can take whatever they have. House.
Yeah.
The house that their daddy worked hard during his old years. So that kind of that kind of mindset comes from how do you raise your child. And then when you go over there and they hear, no, in American, when they are 18, they kick them out of the house. No, they don't kick them out of the house. It's when they are 18, they're going to college. And most of them, they win a scholarship or they save, whatever, and they got to get out the house and go to the dorm on the university and study over there 4 or 5 years, and there's no way they're gonna come back home because they're already independent.
Right.
That's the American way of doing things. Yeah. But no, when you have Venezuelans running in Texas, in Florida, promoting socialism, promoting freebies, because I wanna get the vote. No, and then they are portraying themselves as a Republican, but they are doing activities as a socialist.
Right. Well, they want to be an establishment Republican to take part in the power. See, when you've got, listen, folks, and I've told you this before, when you have somebody that's coming up trying to get your vote and they're making you all kinds of promises, you don't need to work, like AOC, you don't need to work. You don't need to do this. We're going to give you health care. We're going to give you a wage. Go back to
Venezuela.
That's not this country.
That's not American
But if somebody's
mentality.
asking for your vote, then you need to look at why they're doing it, folks, because they're going to have power over you, and that's what they want. All right, don't go anywhere. We will be right. Are we at the end? We're at the end of the show. Well, Josie, that went by fast.
That was
folks,
good.
that was one of the. We will have to do another one. Folks, that's the quickest hour we've been through. Look, I didn't even get to the attempted Trump assassination, which probably none of you have heard of. All right, we will be back next week. We'll do another hot show, so we can do that again, Josie.
Let's do it next
week.
Folks,
you stay tuned. We got Roger B coming up next with Locked and Loaded. So be back next week on Point with Victor. Thanks so much.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.